Michael, I'm going to be your host for this morning's session. Welcome along to today's Report Designer webinar. So this is as part of the webinar series for the Report Designer 2025 digital badge. We've run quite a few sessions on that already. So this is session number 5. So we're looking today at groups and sections. And also included in that will be a little bit of information about sorting your information as well on your reports. So session today should last around about 45 minutes, quite a bit to get through. So as normal, obviously the session is being recorded and that recording will be included on your follow-up email. So this is a one that you're likely, if it interests you and it's something that's maybe something you are wanting to look to do going forward, it's one that you're probably going to want to work through at your own pace. So do watch out for that recording. We make those recordings available via our webinar recordings page as well afterwards. Now, just before we get stuck into the demos and the content today, for those of you that are fairly new to webinars, just to let you know, you don't need a microphone for these sessions. If you've got one and you do enable it, you will find it's just muted automatically. Can't unmute yourself during the session. So any questions that you might have for us today, pop them in the questions panel. We will try our best to answer as many as we can. If we don't get a chance to answer your question, don't worry, we will try and just drop you an email at some point, either later today or early tomorrow morning. Just depends on the questions that we get. Sometimes they can be quite in-depth, these questions. So today we're joined by Tina and Laura. They'll be on hand in the background to try and answer those questions. So keep them busy, I'm sure you will. To submit your questions, you just need to click the little speech bubble icon, give it a click, it'll expand, you'll get access to that box in the bottom right hand corner. It tends to get well used on these report design sessions. Pop your question or your comment in there. Remember to click send, otherwise we won't see them. And as I say, we'll try and pick up as many as we can, but again, don't be put off if we don't get a chance to answer your question on the session. We will just get back to you afterwards. I'm sure there'll be loads of common themes coming through on the session as well, but watch out for the follow-up email as well. You'll get that round about an hour after we finish. Remember, it includes a link to the recording of this morning's session, so if you are wanting to work through it and sort of watch that back and maybe work through it in your company at the same time, some of you will probably be doing that this morning, then just watch out for that. It also includes a link to our upcoming webinars, so if you haven't registered for the others yet, you've still got plenty of time to do that. Our next session for report design is on Thursday morning at 11. And then we're going to be repeating those sessions throughout October as well. So plenty of scope. You might come along today and think, oh, well, I'll watch the webinar. And you might quite a bit to take in for this one, particularly if you're fairly new to report design. Or if you've never touched it, loads to take in. So you might sign up for a next one just to try and sort of embed it a little bit in your mind. You might come back with some questions as well next month. Anyway, so watch out for that. Get yourself registered for the live sessions, and obviously the follow-up email will also include a link to our previous recordings as well. These are the sessions that we've included as part of the Report Design 2025 Digital Badge series. So we're up to session 5 today, which is sections and groups. Thursday we'll be covering criteria, and then next Tuesday we'll be covering filters, and then we've got the quiz. And I think we've got the quiz the week after as well, so 2 opportunities to attend the quiz in September. Remember, if you want to qualify for that badge, you need to attend 5 of the 7 topics plus the quiz. Doesn't matter whether you attend any of those in this month or next. They'll all just be merged together to see who has earned that badge. Right, okay, loads to get through though, so that's enough of the introductory to the sessions. Let's have a look at what we're covering this morning. So, looks quite a short agenda, this one. So we're going to start with the report structure. We're going to look at really the difference in how some of the standard Sage reports are structured, and it's important that you can identify certain elements on a report before you start thinking about trying to make any amendments. So we're going to also look at sorts as well. So demonstrating how you can change the order of what you want on your report and also the rules surrounding that. We'll do the same for groups as well. So if you've applied any groups, then sort of adding a sort within it. And then just at the end, we'll explain more about the additional support. And also, if there are any outstanding questions, I'll try and chip in with some of that as well. Right, okay, so let's get stuck in, and we're going to start with, as I say, the report structure. Now, when we look at some of the standard reports that are non-groups, or what we term non-grouped, there are certain elements of that report, so these sort of sections, and it makes it easier to find and for you to make any amendments. So you want you to feel sort of confident when it's in your understanding of which sections appear on your report and why. So we're going to start with non-grouped reports. It tends to be where we always start on these report design sessions, so looking at basic list type reports. So some reports, some of the standard reports in CH50 will contain groups and others won't. So as I say, we're going to start with the non-grouped reports. We've got some examples on the slide. Again, the non-grouped reports are where generally it's going to provide a list for you. So things like a list of your customers, basic contact information on there. You've got similar ones for suppliers, nominal codes, product lists, projects, maybe daybooks reports where it's a list of a specific type of transactions. So they're all commonly used reports, which there's no grouping on those types. So it's a good place to start, and these are good reports to base it on if you want to practice adding groups after today's session. So you've got quite a few examples there. Now what we'll do is we'll switch across to a bit of a demo at this point. So I will share my main screen, and you'll see me working in the software. So we're going to start by, we'll just run the customer list report, just to always give you a little bit of context before we get stuck in. So into customers, into reports, we'll use the customer details folder, and it's the customer list we're after. So this one here. So it's a standard report, all available in all levels of the software. When we run this report, so we'll just preview it. So we'll get the criteria. Criteria is so the criteria that you have available to you, something that we are covering in the session on Thursday morning. If you want to add more criteria to your report, allowing you to sort of filter down your options and the information that's included on the report. Now, I'm just going to OK that, so I'll just accept the default criteria. I don't want to get involved in that today. And that will just give us a list of the basic information, similar to what you just saw on the slide itself. Now, obviously, if you've selected records beforehand, it will just include the ones that you had highlighted. But we didn't, so it's included all of them. Now, I've got two dummy accounts that I've used. You might be familiar with these ones from previous demos where we've run them. But working from sort of the top of the report to the bottom, so top left-hand corner, we've got the date and time. We've got the company name. So in my case, it's CH Demos version 32. And I've also got the report name, so customer list. And also I've got the page number in the top right. We've then got the report criteria. So that criteria values window that popped up when I went to preview the report. And that just means that when we've generated the report, not so much for this report, it's probably not as useful, but if you're running things like your profit and loss, you want to know when you've run that to and when you run it from and what criteria you've specified. But on this one, it's got it listed. Because I didn't specify as a range, it's run it from blank all the way through to the Zs, meaning that we get everything. We then got some column headings. See text, just to explain what the data is that's appearing on the report. Again, really obvious in this instance. And then we can see the main report itself. So the main data pulled through from the various customer records. So basically a list of customers, their contact details. And then if I just scroll down to the bottom, I'll just drag that slider down to the bottom of the report. So at the bottom there, we've got this, what we term the end of report banner, just to indicate the report is actually finished. Useful if you're on a multi-page report and you think, ooh, how many pages was it? Am I missing a page? So it just states that, just so you know it's the end. Right, now what we'll do is we'll have a look at this report, but within the report designer, just so you can see how it's made up. Now we could close out of the report, and then from where you've got the list of reports, we could click edit. But from the preview screen, we can also click edit at the top. So we'll just do that, and that will essentially achieve the same thing. It opens the design of the report that we were previewing in the report designer. You could do that for your things like your invoice layouts as well if you needed to make amends. Right, let's just zoom in so we can see this a little bit clearer as well. Right, now we can see from the design of this report that it's split into several sections. So each section has a grey banner at the top. So you can see there's a number of those on the report. And these are numbered down the left so that it can be easily identified. So you can see we've got 1 through to 5 in this instance. They're also named as well. Now, as a general rule, for a non-grouped report, so this listing style of report, the only sections that you will see are what we term page headers, details, and also report footers. So think about these sections like a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So headers are the beginning, details are the middle, and the footers are at the end. So let's start from the top and work down. You should be able to start making comparisons to what we just seen from the report we previewed it. So we've got section 1, which is the page header. So this contains objects showing us essentially the date and time. You've got the company name, just hover over it. And then we've got the report name, and then we've got the page number. So this is what we term the page header. Now, some of these objects, and hopefully this is starting to build up your knowledge a little bit now. Some of these objects are text boxes, and the others are data fields. And you can tell the difference by the two just by hovering over them. So if you hover over date, for instance, nothing happens. It just puts like a yellow box around it. If we hover over a data field, you can see we get the floating box appear. So it's got that information box. So it tells me, in this case, it's a variable. It tells me what that variable is. So in this case, report.date. So remember, report being the table, date being the actual variable or of what we often refer to as the data field. So that's how you can tell the difference. So if it's text, just nothing, just sort of puts the highlight box around it. If you hover over another one, you'll see it's a variable. It might be an expression as well. In this case, it's just a variable. Right, in section 2 is another page header section. And this time it contains the report criteria. Now again, remember there's a webinar on Thursday about that, which is session number 6. And again, similar to the other section 1, we've got both text boxes and data fields in this section. Next, we've got section 3, which is another page header, and this basically contains the column headings, which in this case, they're just all text boxes. So again, I can hover over them. Other than putting it like that yellow golden sort of box around it, it doesn't do anything. Section 4 is the details section. So in this instance, it contains the data fields for the main report data itself. Again, if you hover over each of these, you'll see the information box appears. You can find out what the data field actually is. So both the table and the variable name. So in this case, when we hover over account ref, it's telling us in that little box, I'm hoping you can make that out, it's the sales ledger table and it's the account ref variable. And then finally, our section 5 is the report footer. So all we've got in this instance is the end of report banner. Just again, that's where it was indicating that the report is complete. Now, another way of seeing how the report is structured is via the Report Explorer option pane, which is normally accessible just on the upper right-hand side. So we got the Report Explorer option down here on the right. Now, if you don't have that, you can just go to View, and you have an option, Report Explorer, and it'll switch it back on for you. It might be that you've switched it off at some point. So nice and easy to switch it back on. That goes for some of the other options. We'll be looking at properties in today's option, today's area as well. Now, if we just have a look in Report Explorer, and I think it's worth mentioning at this point that in Report Explorer, it won't necessarily match exactly the sections you see on your report. So it's telling us here, we've got 3 page header sections. We've got a details. We've got on, let's say, no transactions. We've got 2 page footers and then a report footer. And that's because some of the report sections can be hidden if they're not needed. So potentially if it's blank or you don't want to display that information that's in there, you could hide that option. So we'll go into this in a little bit detail a bit later on. Now what we can see, however, are the 3 page headers in this section. You can see the details section, the report footer section as well. So they're the ones that are in use currently, or I say in use, I should say the ones that are actually visible on our report. Now each of these sections can be expanded to see the items on the report within that section. So I go with that first one, you'll see the information that is being included in there. So I don't want to dwell on that too much for now. I just wanted to show you that it's a good way of seeing what's exactly on your report and how it's made up and what items are sort of held within each section. Let's just pin that back to the side for the time being, just collapse it down. Now, many of the principles we've covered for non-group reports also apply to what you term grouped reports as well. So we're going to move on to grouped reports now, just to again emphasize how the structure of a group report is a little bit different. So we close out of this report for now, and then we'll close back to the main customers window itself. Now I'm going to go back to the slides for a moment. So similar to non-grouped reports, this is grouped reports this time, and this will give you, I've listed some common ones. So there are common reports that people regularly run, so things like activity reports, age debtors, age creditors, invoices due, overdue, both for customers and suppliers, and others as well. And hopefully you'll probably be familiar with some of these already. So things like the activity reports, they appear in several areas of the software. And they'll be grouped by either customer, so you can see in that, or supplier, so we can see in the screenshots that we've got, supplier invoices overdue, the transactions are listed, but they're grouped by each individual supplier. So it'll list the supplier, it'll then list the transactions. So it's grouping it together. It's not just listing those transactions, it's breaking it up a little bit. So I'm sure you're more than familiar with some of those. So if you do find a report named, say, something by something else, for instance, when you're looking at it, so let's say it was you might say product profit by customer or sales by analysis code. It generally indicates there will be at least one group added in the design of the report. So what are the main differences in the report structure for grouped reports? So we'll go back to my screen and we'll have a look. So this time we're going to use the supplier invoices overdue report. So we'll pop into suppliers and then into reports. And it's the supplier invoices folder that I'm after. And we should have a supplier invoices overdue. I probably should have flagged this as favorite to save me navigating through, but just in case you're trying to follow through or you're following through later on, you know how to access this report and you'll be able to make a similar change. Now this time, rather than previewing it, what I'll do is I'll just go straight into the report designer this time. So we'll highlight the report, click edit at the top. And again, we'll follow that through in pretty much the same way as what we did earlier, looking at the various sections. So let's start with sort of what we know already about the report as well. So what we already know from what we've already looked at, the non-grouped report. So we can see there's a page header. So we got that at the top here. There's a report header. So this contains the report criteria that we run the report for. Now I know on our previous example, this is where it sometimes can get a little bit confusing as well, that the criteria on the previous example, the non-grouped report, was in what we term a page header section. This time it's called report header. The only difference between a page header and a report header is the number of times it appears on a report preview when it runs over more than one page. Now, if I just preview that, so I'll just click the preview option at the bottom. Hopefully we can show you this one. So I'll just accept all of that criteria. It's telling me at the bottom here, it's page 1 of 10. So you'll see at the top here, we've got the report criteria. So that outlines what we selected when we run the report. And if we scroll down to page, actually we'll just go on to page 2. So onto page 2, this time you don't see the criteria. So it's because the criteria is in what you would term a report header section. So you only see it once at the start of the report. If it wasn't a page header section, we'd see that at the top of each page. So obviously the title, the date, etc., the page number, that's in a report header, but the criteria that we looked at on the design of the report, so this section here, that's just what we term the report header section. So only once at the start of the report at the top of the first page. Now, if you did want the criteria on each page, it would just need to sit within a page header section rather than the report header. Right, so just going back to the design of the report. Again, based on what we already know, you can see we've got the details section here. And if I scroll a little bit further down, just zoomed in a little bit too far for this one, we've got the report footer section as well. So pretty much same sort of structure. But we can see there's 2 additional sections belonging to the group which is in place on this report. So we've got the what we term the account ref header. So it indicates the start of a group of data. And we've also got the account ref footer indicating the end of a group of data. Spare me one moment there, please. Sorry about that. Right, okay. The key way to identify, I think, a section as belonging to a group is if you see any header or footer sections with something other than the word like page header or report header. So in that case, it belongs to a group. So in this case, we have an account ref header section and also an account ref footer section. And this means the report contains a group on it, in this case for the account reference. So that's all I'm going to say on that for now. I'll be showing you how to add a group to report later on in the session, and we'll explain a bit more detail at the time. Right, I'm going to close this report for now. If I can get my mouse to work, there we go. So we'll go back to the slides as well. Again, if I can find the right button, there we go. So just to quickly summarize what we've looked at so far. So as a bare minimum, each report will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. For example, a header section, the main report data, and then the footer section. To identify if a report is grouped, edit the report, open it in Report Designer. Remember, you can edit it either from the main reports list, or if you've previewed it, you've got edit at the top. Check the report section showing on the report design. You see that by the grey banners, which are named and numbered. And then check the report sections in the Report Explorer panel as well. Some sections may have been hidden from the design of the report. If you see any headers or footer sections except page headers, footers, or report headers and footers, the report is grouped. So a common example you'll see across many of the standard reports will be account ref headers and footers. So why have we told you this? Why have we looked at that so far? It doesn't matter if the report is grouped or not, or if you want to make changes to the report. Yeah, you need to understand that. So again, this is an introduction type session that we're looking at today. So we want to go back to the basics, making sure everyone's got that sort of little bit of foundation knowledge. Right, okay, so next, let's move on to our sort of next section. And it's something we're often asked about, this one. So we're often asked to change the sort order of data on reports. Now, depending on whether or not the report is grouped, dictates how easy it is to achieve this. Now, I'm going to start by making a couple of minor changes to a report which is not currently grouped, and then show you how we can change the sort order on the report. So the information, we can choose what order it displays in. So we'll go back to the customer list. And as almost like a little bit of a recap on what we've touched on previously as well, just to try and ingrain that process, we'll be looking at touching on saving a report as a new file, adding text and data fields, etc. So let's quickly switch back to the demo. And again, we're going to pick on the customer list report. Easiest place to start. So customer details, customer list. We'll select it, click edit. And remember, the reason I want to recap on this is that all of the standard reports in Sage, and that goes for your layouts as well, doesn't matter whether it's an invoice or a statement, order, remittance, they're all read-only. So you can't make changes to standard reports. Essentially, what you need to do is take a copy of them, so do a save as, and then you'll be able to make amends to that one. Or you can make the amends, but when you go to save, you'll then need to do a save as. Again, just to protect the standard layouts and reports in the software. So to get started with that, before we start making any changes to the design of the report itself, we're just going to pop into report at the top and then report properties. And this is one of the reasons as well, it means that you can have a go of this as well. So if you're working through in your own pace and you're having a go, it means you can't do any harm. So you can take a copy of the reports, you can play around with it, see what you can try and sort of practice what you've learned a little bit. So I'm just going to change that. I'll just put my initials at the beginning of these two boxes just so we can see it stick out a little bit. Again, you could call it whatever you want. So I'll just OK that. And then I'll go to File, Save As. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and leave the standard report name there. And again, I'll just put MC at the beginning of that. Now it will save the report in the My Customer Reports area. It'll do that automatically. So you see at the top, it's defaulted to the In Customers, the My Customer Reports folder. Just accept that. Makes it easier. It means that any customized reports, they're all accessed in one place, or at least the ones for customers anyway. Right, I'll quickly close out. So we'll go to My Customer Reports. Right, I'm just going to get rid of this one from the bottom because that's when we've had a little bit of play with it. So we'll just get rid of that one. Just don't want to confuse you. So this is the one we've just essentially created as a copy. Now we'll click on the little star thing as well. Now the idea of clicking the star, you flag it as a favorite. And all that means is when you come into reports, if you've got anything flagged as a favorite for that area, it'll default to the favorites area. And it means that you don't have to then go looking for that one. That goes for any other reports in these sections, whether it's aged debtors or commission reports or daily transactions, whatever it is. Flag it as a favorite if it's a one that you use. So much easier to have say 5 or 6 reports maybe listed that you use all the time as it flagged as a favorite than it is to, right, which folder do I go into again? Right, it's age debtors, and right, it's this summary report down the bottom that I'm after. So I'll flag it as a favorite, makes it nice and easy to find. Right, okay, what we'll do, we'll go back to into the report, so we'll edit it. Again, brings up the design of that one. So remember, this is a non-grouped report, this one. So currently I don't have any department information on here. So when it comes to adding information, so objects to your reports, you need to think about a number of things, the sort of the what, the where, and the how. So what do you want to add? Is it just text? Is it a data field? Is it both? Where do you want that to appear? Which section do you need it to impact in? And more importantly, is there space on that report to add it? I'm going to make a little bit of space on mine in a moment. I'll just get rid of the email information off the end, just for the purpose of the example. But also, how do you want it to look? Does it look like the rest of the objects on the screen? The how and how you want it to appear, maybe that comes a little bit later on. So it's sort of tidying it up to make it look good. So what we're going to do, we're going to add the department number for each customer. And we want to do that, we'll do it to the right of the telephone number. So what I'll do is I'll make a little bit of space just so we're not overlapping anything. I'll just highlight the email text at the top there, get rid of that, and then I'll do the same for the variable from the details section as well. So we're going to add the department number, and we'll just add it sort of to the right here. Right, now what we've got, obviously we've got our column headings, and we've got our sort of information or the details in sort of the actual account, the customer information in that details section as well. Right, so what we want is we want to add some text. Now we're going to add some text for the department number. Now I could just click add text. You might remember this from session number 2, add text, and then I could click, start typing it in. Or the other way I can do, and this sometimes it's a little bit quicker doing it this way, is to right click on one of the existing headings, just so that it picks up the style, etc. So right click it, copy it, and then if I just right click and paste, put it in again. I'll just drag it into position. So that's a bit of text there. It's in the same format as the other column headings. And then if I double click it, you'll see I get a flashing cursor in there. So I'm just going to put department number. I'm happy with that. And that's it done. Next thing I want to do is I want to insert the data field, what we also refer to as a variable. And again, this wants to go in section 4 in the details section this time. So add data field, let's click into the section. It's the department number from the customer's account that I'm after. So that's contained within the sales ledger table. So we'll expand that, scroll down, find department number. So I'll highlight it, I'll OK that, it'll pop it in there for me. Now you can see it's picked up the previous style as well, so I'll try and make it look the same as the others. So if I highlight telephone, I can see this is criteria details. If I just click back to department number, and I'll just find exactly the same style. So criteria details, and it makes it look the same as the other information in that detail section. So we'll just align it to the right height. Happy with that. Right, so let's have a quick look at what that looks like. So I'll just preview at the bottom, accept all of those defaults criteria. And you can see we've now got the department number. So this is where you might go back and forwards and think, well, actually, I want that centered under the department number, or I want it right aligned. It's up to you. So again, we covered that sort of thing in session number 2. So what we've got is, for each customer, we've now got that department number. So we've got some ones in there, some zeros, and some sixes. So a bit of a mixture. So that's I suppose, the basic change. Excuse me. Now remember, probably the best thing to do is to save your changes as you go. So I'll just go to File and we'll click Save. What we'll do next then, so we've added that department number in there. We're going to sort by that. Now it's really easy to add a sort on this type of report. So we'll just switch back to designer mode. So using this little toggle option on your toolbar at the bottom. So we're back in there. And to add a sort, we're just going to go into at the top. So in design modes, we're going to go into report at the top. We've got an option, a little bit fiddly there. So into report, into sorts. There's nothing listed at the moment. So I'm going to add that. And it asks us for a table and a variable. So what do you want to sort on? So in this case, I want to sort by sales ledger, and I want to sort by, again, it gives me all those data fields. I want to sort by department number. So we'll just OK that. Now I left that in ascending order as well. There may be occasions when you want to put in descending order. So if you were displaying like balance, for instance, you might think, well, I want the customer with the highest outstanding balance at the top of the list. So you might sort by balance in descending order. Well, it gives you the choice. So we'll just OK that. So that's just that one sort that we've put on there. So we want the customers listed, but we want them in department number order. So let's switch across to preview it. Just OK the criteria again. And we can now see, if we look down this department number column, we've got all the zeros. Let's just scroll down a little bit. It then moves on to the department number ones, and then we've got a couple that are flagged to department number 6 at the end. So easy to apply a sort in that way. So let's just go back to that design view. Now, if we wanted to, sorry, I should have mentioned this one as well while I'm in here. When we're looking at it, let's zoom in so you can see it. So we got the department zeros. So these are in sort of numerical order, ascending. But if we look at the names on the accounts, you can see that, well, it's a bit of a mishmash at the moment. You'd probably expect this one, A1 Design Services, maybe to be listed first. So we can apply a secondary sort as well if needed. You can actually apply as many sorts as you want. So we want them by department number order, but then for that department, what I want to do is I want them in alphabetical order by name. So we'll do that. We'll add a secondary sort. So into report, sorts, we'll add another one. Again, sales ledger. And this time we want the name of the account. So we just scroll down, we look for name. Now again, if you're not familiar with what you should be selecting for that, so when you're thinking, right, well, it's the name of the account, what's the data field I need to know? We covered that in one of the previous sessions. I think it was session 3 where we looked at tables and variables. And there was a great resource within our help center on how to find out. So again, check that recording if you're not that familiar. So I'll just put that in there. We've got the 2. So it's department number ascending and then sales ledger name in ascending order. Again, I would have the choice. Maybe I want it in descending order. So we'll just preview it to see how that impacts the report. And if we zoom in, we can see we've got the department 0 still. then the ones, but within department 0, we've now got a secondary sort, so these should be in alphabetical order, which they are. So really easy to sort that information. So if you're always transferring to the likes of Excel and resorting, that type of thing, this nice and easy to add that report. Right, so just for this, obviously that's a non-grouped report. If we just quickly pop back to the slides. So just to quickly summarize that then, so sorts on a non-group report, it's nice and easy to do that. When you're editing the report, just report and then sorts, and data can be sorted in either ascending or descending order. And again, as we've just seen there, you can have multiple sorts on the report, as long as they make sense, of course. But the important thing is, once you've sorted on a unique field, you need to stop adding sorts at that point. So for the information that we were displaying, we got as far as the sales ledger name. So that was the unique field at that point. So we didn't add any more. It's not worth it. There's nothing else to sort on within that. Obviously, potentially, if we had, I suppose, if we had customers with the same name, but different, so maybe multiple accounts with the same name, maybe we could put an additional sort on then, but in this case we don't, so we just stopped adding the sorts at that point. Right, we're going to quickly pop on to groups next. Now, this is the last section of the session that we're going to be running today, and if we're watching the clock, which I'm sort of watching the clock, I think we're going to probably overrun by about 5 minutes or so, so maybe getting towards about 10 to. So we're going to quickly move on to groups though. So what is a group? What is it? Well, it divides your report data into groups that share something in common. That might be a list of customers grouped by department, list of transactions grouped by supplier, products grouped by stock location. So loads of benefits, obviously helps provide that structure. So you can easily see the breakdown. So it'll report, sorry, the data included will automatically be sorted by the grouped data field as well. Now you can have multiple groups, you could have subtotals, page breaks, and a lot more. But we're just going to cover the basics in this session. So we'll quickly add a group to our report. Right, let's go back to my screen. And we'll just go back to there. I'm still in the design of this report, so we'll go back to the design view. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to I'm going to quickly remove the two sorts that we've just put on there. So just as easy as adding them, you can go report sorts, and we can select them and remove them. So just as easy to knock one off if you're having to play around with it. So we'll just okay that. So that will be back to where we were. If we just quickly preview it. You can see it's not sorted by anything at this point. You've got the numbers, ones and zeros, so a bit of a mixture at that point. So we're back just to account reference order at this point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a group to the report. Now to do this, we go back to designer view. Just zoom in a little bit, just in case you're trying to see that. But to add a group to the report, we're just going to go into report. Sorry, not report. We're going to go into sections at the top. Add section, and we want to do a group header and footer. So we want to do that based on the information included on the report. Now, this is the expression editor window. Now, we did mention the other day that sometimes when you're entering expressions, the expression editor window will pop up in a number of different places. So here we'll be able to basically add the extra report header and footer. So what we're going to do is we're going to add sales ledger. So from the fields area, just find sales ledger. And then I want department number. Let's just scroll back to that one. Oh, we want to double click it. You always get caught out by that one. So department number, I just double click it, that puts it in this sort of the preview area of the side. So remember, sales ledger dot department number. So table variable. So we'll just okay that. So straight away, we've now got a header section, sales ledger department number header, and we've got the new footer section in here as well. Now, if I just quickly preview that, give you an idea of what that looks like. So you can see it's now grouped it. So where we just had one big list previously, we've now got it sort of broken into groups. So in this instance, we've just got gaps there at the moment. So it doesn't look great, that one. If we just pop back to design view, and still while we're in this view, if we go back to reports and sorts, now we don't see anything in here. So the grouping takes priority. So it'll be sorted in group order, then by any other sorts that we might have applied. So it's automatically, in this case, sorted sort of department 0, then the department 1s, then the department 6s that we've got in play in the data. Now we can actually see how the data is sorted within the group as well, just by clicking on the header section in this instance, and then opening the properties panel. So we just need to move the sort of divide on this. You can't see that very well. But if we highlight it, and it's this one here, group sort direction. So within the group, or the groups themselves, so based around department number, we've got that in ascending order. So if we needed to, for whatever reason, we wanted departments in descending order, that's where we do it. We'd highlight the group, in this case the number, the sales ledger department number header section, and then pop into that properties panel. So in this case, it's showing us ascending. Now, in theory, I've got what I want for my report. Let's just pin that to the side again. Oh, there we go. And we'll zoom in. So in theory, I've got what I want, but it didn't look very good. It had big gaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few changes. So what changes do I want to make? Let's have a quick look. So just okay that. So we've got headings, but they're only once. They're at the top of the page. So I've just seen it once. When I get sort of down here, I've got the information, but I can't see what the columns relate to. Might be obvious for your report, but I can't see that. So I want column headings at the start of each group, as it were. We've got these gaps as well. And do I really need to see things like the department number being repeated? I know it's grouped by department number, so I can see all these relate to department 1. So what if I wanted just to get rid of that and maybe have that sort of introducing each section, as you'd have on the likes of maybe a customer report or a supplier report? You'd have maybe their account reference and the name listed, and then you'd have the information within it. So we'll make a few changes. So we'll go back to design view. What I'm going to do is, rather than the column headings being on what we term the page header, I want it to be in the sales ledger department number header section. I'm going to make that just a little bit bigger, just the gap essentially. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these. So I'm just going to drag a box, and when I release the mouse there, it'll highlight them all. If I just click off it, it deselects them. So I just click with the mouse, hold the mouse button down, drag a box so it touches all of those headings. And then as I release the mouse, it highlights them all. Then I'm just going to use the cursor keys on my keyboard just to move them into position. I'll move that department number into position a bit better as well. Just do that one manually. So what we now have, if we just preview it, is we can see that these headings, rather than just being at the top of the page, they're at the top of each sort of group that we've added. So they're in the group header section. So looking a bit better already. Next, what we'll do is we're going to change. We're going to essentially move the department number. We're going to move that. So rather than it repeated each time, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move the title first of all. I'm just going to drag that with the mouse. I'm going to move that within the header section, and also this one here, the variable itself. I'm going to move that into the header section. So I'll just drag that up. I'll position it. So I don't want it repeated each time against each customer that's listed on my report. So now if I preview it, okay, the criteria, we'll see it now looks a lot better. Again, you can play around with the styling and positioning and things like that if required. Now, department 0 or 1, it might not mean anything to you. So what we'll quickly do is we'll add the name in there as well. There's a few different ways you could do this. Obviously, the department number variable, it's quite wide there. So what we could do is we could make that a little bit narrower. And then what I want is I want to put the department name in here. To follow the number, I want the name of the department. Right, so we'll just add another data field. I want it to go here. So it's from the sales ledger. Just need to scroll down, find the department name. There it is. And we'll just OK that. Again, we can play around with the formatting, getting it to look how we want. If I just click off that, and then let's preview it. And again, we've now got the text department number. We've got it pulling through the number, and then we've got the name. And if you were watching the expressions webinar the other day, you could even design it so that it gets rid of the gap for you. So we could add an expression that says, right, I want the number, then a dash, plus the name, and it would just compact it up. So it would potentially look a lot better. Right, final thing I'm going to quickly do, obviously, same problem that we had before is that within here, let's just zoom in so you can see that last thing I'm going to show you within here is that, well, we've got them in department number order, but within here, they're just a bit of a mishmash. So we can put a sort within here as well. So if again, back to design view, and we'll just go back to report, into sorts, nothing in there, but we'll add one. So we'll do sales ledger. Let's base it on the name again. I keep thinking I should do account reference because it's at the top of the list there, but actually we'll use name. We'll put it in ascending order. Just OK that, OK that. And if we do that final preview, what we should now have, and I'll zoom in just so you can see this a little bit clearer. So within department 0, in that section, that group of results, we've now got them in name order as well. Excuse me. Right, now that brings us to the end of this morning's session. So apologies for the slight overrun. There's always a lot to get through in this session. So let's just go back to the slides for a moment. If you've got any final questions, please pop them in there now. I can see you've kept Tina and Abby and Laura really busy. I think Tina's been keyboards on fire this morning, so been really busy typing those answers in for you. Any final questions, or pop them in there. Again, if we don't get a chance to answer your question, don't worry, we'll try and get back to you later on, either today or early tomorrow morning. Remember, there is an opportunity to download the handout. The link to the handout will be included on the follow-up email as well. You click that, so if you forgot to download it or you've lost it since downloading it, just watch out and you'll be able to get that later on. Loads of information to support you as normal in the Help Centre though. Again, if the links to sign up for our upcoming webinars, those are included as well. But you can just head along to sage.co.uk/webinars otherwise. Always the same link. Get yourself signed up if you haven't signed up for the criteria or the filter sessions or the quiz sessions, or maybe you've missed some of the other RepDes sessions, or even if you want to repeat this one, again, check them out. Check out that live timetable, get yourself registered, they're all free to attend. And finally, just while I'm letting you pop in your questions, let me quickly thank you for attending. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Quite a bit to go through. So again, do take that opportunity once you've received the follow-up email. It's got that link onto the recording. So again, you might want to follow it through just to try and develop your knowledge a bit further in your skills. Yes, it is just an introductory session today. So things like adding totals and subtotals and things like that, we haven't really covered in today's session. I don't think we've got anything planned in for things like adding totals just yet. But again, you would find that information in our Help Centre if you want to develop your knowledge in that way. Right, so if you can, take a minute to complete the survey. It should pop up as you leave. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you'd like to see going forward as well, and any ideas and things like that you want to share with us. If you can take that minute, really appreciate it. Your follow-up email will be with you in round about an hour's time. So do watch out for that and do get yourself registered for the other sessions as well. But do have a play with the report designer. Remember, you'll need to do a save as, so any standard reports or layouts, you can't damage them because they're read-only. You'll need to do a save as. That goes for any things like your invoice layouts as well. You'll need to do that save as to enable you to save any changes. So have a go, have a bit of play. Right, okay. We'll end the webinar just at that point. We'll let everyone go for lunch. Enjoy your lunch. Again, if there's anything outstanding, we'll try and get back to you via email, either later today or tomorrow morning. Many thanks for coming along. Do complete that survey, and hopefully we'll see you on some of the other webinars very soon. Many thanks.